welcome back to this channel. Okay, so today we are going to be solving an orthographic projection problem. You can see the problem on the screen. That's the object we want to reproduce in orthographic projection. So first of all, the basic step or the initial stage in an orthographic projection is to draw your orthographic plane. Okay, now the orthographic plane is a horizontal line and a vertical line. That's the orthographic plane, because orthographic plane is a perpendicular plane. So we've drawn our horizontal line, now we've drawn our vertical line. So this is our orthographic plane. So when we are done with the orthographic plane, the next thing is to mark out an offset distance and draw parallel lines with the plane. Now the essence of this is these lines we are going to draw will serve as the base of each view in this orthographic projection, and the space this particular line we want to draw is going to give with this our orthographic plane will enable us put projection lines when we want to project from one view into another plane. Okay, so now for purpose of convenience, we are going to use 10 mm as our offset distance. So this is me trying to mark out 10 mm. Okay, so I have my 10 mm. I'm going to put it at that point of coincidence between the vertical and horizontal line. So I'm going to put at that point and then mark 10 mm on all sides of the line. Okay, so I've marked 10 mm on all four sides of the line. Now I'm going to draw perpendicular lines on each of the 10 mm mark. Okay, so I have drawn both lines, both vertical lines. Now I want to repeat the same thing for the horizontal one. So now I have my 10 mm offset line on all four planes, which means the next step is to proceed with the first view. So I'm going to draw the okay. Let's take note that the question requires we produce this in first angle orthographic projection, and of course we know that in first angle orthographic projection the plan is always below, while in third angle orthographic projection the plan is above the horizontal plane. So since this is in first angle orthographic projection, we are going to expect that the elevation is going to be above the XY line, while the plan is going to be directly below it. So I'm starting with my first view. The view is, I'm changing the orientation so that it's going to permit me to project other views, so that it will allow us project another view from it. That's why we are changing the orientation. So that's that base dimension. So I'm taking my time to write out all the dimensions to avoid mistake. I'm taking my time to write out all the dimensions as seen on the wall bracket that we are trying to reproduce. Okay, so you're going to notice that anytime I draw a horizontal line on this my elevation, I draw it right through and I allow it to project into the next plane. That's the plane by the right hand side. That's the way it's done in orthographic projection, because these projections into this right hand side, they are what we are going to use to draw our end view eventually. So whenever I draw, I don't allow it doesn't end on just this quadrant where I'm drawing. I project it into the next one. Okay, so I've marked my 15 mm height. If you look at that part, you're going to see 5 plus 10. That's what makes up the 15 mm height, and that's what I've just marked. And I am drawing the broken line. That's the hidden line on the 5 mm height. So sometimes these dimensions can be a bit confusing, but we really have to take our time to figure them out. So now we have marked our 20 mm height. Marked our 20 mm height, and we are going to draw the horizontal line at that height. Okay, so I'm marking for my 12 diameter hole. In case you're wondering how we got 12 diameter as a hole, you can look at the other view. That's our plan view, which is by the right of this view. If you look at that view, you're going to see the two holes, 12 diameter. So that's why we are marking the 12 diameter hole. So we marked 6 on the right side of that line and 6 on the left side of that line. So we are now going to use our short dashes to represent that hole in this elevation. So for this point we marked where we want to draw this line, in case you're wondering what dimension we are using here, let's check the dimension from the left end of this view. Let's check from the left end. We have 25 plus 75, that's 100. Now the entire length is 90 plus 25, which is 115. That's 115. So 115 minus 100 is definitely 15. So that's, we mark 15 from that edge, and that's how we got the point where we are going to draw that vertical line. Now for the height of, for this particular height, we have 5. Read the dimension from the left side. If you're looking at that wall bracket, read it from the left side. We have 5, 10, 50. That means 5 plus 10 is 15 plus 50, that's 65. So that height is 65. So we are just going to join the 2 points with a straight line. Okay, so that's 25 from that height. As you can see from the drawing, that's 25 from that height, which is actually the midpoint of that 50 height. Okay, so from that point, we're going to draw a semicircle of radius 12. So I'm just going to use my, is it radius? Yes, radius 12. Yes, so we are going to use our compass to mark out radius 12. Okay, so that's me marking out radius 12. Okay, so I've drawn my semicircle. So I'm going to outline it. I'm going to try and make it thick like every other outline. So the last thing I'm going to do for this elevation is to draw, to indicate the 12 diameter hole. using short dashes, which is what I have just done. Okay, so my elevation is complete. Now I'm going to move to the next view, which is definitely going to be my plan. And because I'm drawing in first angle orthographic projection, my plan is going to be directly below the elevation. Of course, the plan, I also have the plan on the question. The question already, I have the plan drawn. So what I'm doing is I'm reproducing it just the way I did for the elevation. So the first thing is that all the vertical lines in this elevation, I'm going to project them downwards into this plane where I want to draw my plan. So I'm going to use my set square and project every vertical line downwards into the plane directly below it. One thing I'll always tell my students is that the most difficult view in an orthographic projection is the very first view you draw. The very first view you draw is the most difficult. The rest are going to be very, very easy and fast because they are basically produced from projections of the first view. Okay, so with these projections, we've been able to get the basic shape of the plan. So now we are trying to complete it and then include more details, the ones we could not do from the projections. Okay, so that's the base of the plan view. That's our 115 mm line. If you look at it, it's 25 plus 90, so that's the entire length, 115. Okay, so I've marked the 10 mm offset as you can see from the plan. I've marked the 10 mm offset below and above. Now I'm going to draw the broken line. And I'm going to repeat it for the top one, so the broken line. So everything we are doing at this stage is we are just repeating, we are trying to reproduce what we have. We are not yet projecting a new view now. So what we are just doing is trying to reproduce the view we already have in the question. Okay, so we've marked the center point of that, we've marked the midpoint, and we are going to put a line on that midpoint. That midpoint is half of 88, that's 44. So that point is going to be 44 above the baseline. Okay, so we've just drawn a semicircle of radius 18. Okay, so now I'm drawing my 12 diameter circle. Okay, so I'm almost done with this view. Almost done with this view. I want to draw my radius 18 arc. That's my radius 18 arc. And once I've done that, I'll draw the tangent. Okay, so I want to draw the tangent now. Okay, so that is the tangent. Okay, so this is it with the plan. So I'm just trying to outline some parts of the outline that are still looking a bit faint. Okay, now the last part of this work is to project the end view. That is the last part of the work. Now, the first thing we are going to do is on this plane, right beside the plan view, we are going to draw a 45 degrees line using our 45 degree set square. So you can see from the center of the plane, that's where our initial vertical and horizontal line coincides. So we are going to draw line 45 degrees there, which we have done. Now, what we are going to do is that we are going to project all the horizontal lines on the plan into that plane, and where these projection lines hit these 45-degree lines, we project them upwards into the top plane, which is where we are going to draw our end view. While we are projecting lines from our elevation directly into the end view, we are projecting for the plan, we are projecting lines into the plane below the end view, and where these our projection lines hit this 45-degree line, we draw them upwards vertically. So first of all, let's project all our horizontal lines into this plane. Okay, so now I am projecting upwards into the end view. So look at what I'm doing. All the projections I did from my plan, I'm projecting upwards from the point where they touch the 45 degrees line. So this will help me to get the position of the end view. So don't forget to share this video and subscribe if you have not, and try and visit our earlier videos so that you won't be confused with these later ones. So you can see just by projecting these lines into that place and projecting the elevation into that side, we already have a skeletal framework for the end view. So now we are trying to complete our end view based on what we have from the projections from the two views we drew earlier. So the two views we drew earlier, their projections are eventually what will give us our end view. These lines are really close to each other, so you really have to be careful with your set square here so yours wouldn't coincide. So I hope you can see how these lines are connected. It's the same line in the plan, in the elevation, in the end view for a particular feature. It's the same line. You see that their projections are all connected. Okay, so for these circles, they are just going to show us broken lines, that's short dashes in our end view. So we're just going to project them into our end view and they're going to be represented as short dashes, thin short dashes. Okay, thank you very much. This brings us to the end of this drawing. So as you can see, we have elevation, our thanks for watching, have our elevation, our plan, and our end view. So thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, comment, and share this video. We'll see you in our next video. Bye.